Good morning. I'm Frank Kaufmann, president of the Settlement Project. Good morning. I'm doing a piece today on lies and power. People who seek to control others have three basic ways of doing that. They can control the information you receive, they can exert power over you, or they can have the wealth necessary to control what you have access to. There's a fourth way of working with people and keeping them close to you. That is the power of love. But that is not traditionally understood as the way to establish control or authority over larger populations. We can get into that at another time. But on this particular podcast, I'm concentrating on the interest or desire to control others and the means by which that's done. These are knowledge, power, and money. Power works by fear. I can make your life or the life of your family or the life of your loved ones so miserable that it's wiser for you to submit to me controlling you. The work of money is basically to create desire in you. I have so much money that I can provide for you the things you lust after. Better houses, better cars, better meals, better perfume, better toothpaste. Whatever it is, I have money and I create desire in you so that your longing for material goods makes you voluntarily come under my control. The final thing you can do to gain control over people is to provide the information whereby they come to believe that they need you to control them. That's knowledge or information. So of the three, the one that is most effective is knowledge. If you can provide people with information such that they themselves come to be the active believers in your power, in your controlling me, this is the best work. Now not only are they willing to be controlled by you, but they're willing to be your agents. They believe your control is beneficial, and they will start to become militant in wanting that control to be exerted over others. They are believers. Power uses fear, money uses desire, knowledge and information is what convinces people from their own inner commitments and convictions that they desire you to control them. Knowledge is the most important of these three. In the world or in society, from the beginning of time until now, there are two basic views of human life and social life. One view is this: the freer people are, the better, healthier, more prosperous, and more progressive societies they produce. The more freedom you can give people, the more independence you can give them, the more they will progress towards not only prosperity, but moral and virtuous ideals, including equality, racial equality, gender equality, and so on. Free people produce happy, healthy societies. That's a view. It's just a faith. There's another fundamental contrary faith. Controlled people are the ones who will produce societies that are admirable and virtuous. That people, the more you control them, the more you're able to build a society of goodness, of equality, of shared prosperity. The first view, that free people create good societies, is basically a construct in which one imagines human beings to be essentially good when left on their own, or can work toward good because of the nature of what creating shared prosperity requires. I may hate this type of person or that kind of soul, but I know that that person having equal opportunity is a necessary component for society to function healthily. There can even be selfish ways of pursuing positive social life for all. Those that imagine that a controlled society and controlled individuals are the only way that you can get a society, those people have their own views and they seek to exert control over people. Not all people seeking to control us are believers that doing so is for our own good and for the good of others. They're people who seek to control us just because control and power is addictive and the acquisition of wealth and money is addictive. So they can just get addicted to controlling others. There's a certain kind of sick joy of having this sort of superior status or being able to get others to do what you want. Until this present moment, people who get addicted to controlling others and seek to exert control over them have traditionally stayed in their own sector or own sphere. There is bleed over. But people who become obscenely wealthy and are able to control and exert control over others with their money, they have been in their own sector. People who learn the political process and learn how to lie perfectly and deceive perfectly and manipulate laws to their advantage and just play the political game. They have been in their sector, and history is full of individuals who have built despotic societies and tyrannical societies, tyrannical political structures, and they exert control by use of military and by use of fear and so on and so forth. And then there are those that seek control by the control of information and control of knowledge, or the assertion that I am superior in my knowledge and interpretation of information. That has traditionally been left primarily in educational institutions. These are the Boston Brahmins. These are the people who know what's what, and they control us because they're so much smarter than us. They must know what they're talking about. But remember that it's the controllers of knowledge that are the ones who are able to create the armies that support their interest to control. These until today have remained separated from one another. There has been the state, its tyrants, its military dictators, its genocidal dictators, and so forth. There have been the money, the railroad tycoons, the obscenely wealthy that through the spending of their money gain control of others. And then there has been the educational, cultural, and informational center of social life. Presently, these have welded together and become one thing. So you have media, that's part of the information universe, that seeks to control people. You have the education universe, the control of information and knowledge, that works closely with media. You have the fabulously wealthy, you have the billionaires and zillionaires, the Bezoses, the Dorseys, the Zuckerbergs, the multi-zillionaires and billionaires. They work closely with government, they work closely with media, work closely with tech, they fund schools, and so on and so forth. And you have the elected officials. They're hand in glove with media, they leak, they hold their press conferences. Media are supportive of certain type of political figures. So now what we have is a conglomerate of people who operate under the worldview that people being controlled is the better design for building society. And that group works together. If you are of the belief and of the conviction that it's better for human beings to be under control, then you should be basically happy with this monolith of advocates and practitioners that hold that and put forward that and implement that you should be under their control. Mr. Dorsey should decide what you are allowed to say and what opinions you are allowed to express. I believe in that. It's good. If I'm left to express my own opinions, I could hurt society. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey, for exercising this control over me. And I myself am going to work for you, be on your side, defend you, stand with you. I am going to help you block the expression. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg. We're very grateful for what you do. People with opinions should not be allowed to speak, should not be allowed to express themselves. We only want the opinion of what's best for us all. Please control us. Please do not let dissenting voices poison our society. In fact, we wish you would do more. And for the media, please only present one side. We're not interested in a balance. That's not our interest. We want society to be controlled. We want to be controlled. We believe in control. We believe that this is the best way for society to become fair and good and true. And so once that this monolith of people committed to control are now at one, they're now in common, they support one another, they use their money to prevent expressions of opinion, they use their platforms to express, they do not want people to be free. Why? because free people cause trouble. They need to be controlled. The societies they create are bad. Thank you, Hollywood, for shaming somebody who had a misword in what they said. They should be controlled. They should be driven out. They should not be allowed to act in films. They don't agree with the common good. And thank you especially for Mr. Fauci, who's trying to protect us. Yes, we want mandates. We want Mr. Fauci to decide whether or not I'm allowed to work, whether or not I'm allowed to buy food, whether or not I'm allowed to fly to see my aunt. He's not against me having food or seeing my aunt, but he can't afford to leave me free and make a decision about my medical preferences. I must be controlled. I'm a believer in that. I'm grateful for Mr. Fauci. I'm grateful for the Congress people and the senators who are willing to lie and to create legislation that prevents people from being free. They shouldn't be free even to vote how they like. It's better that we control the vote as well. It's a simple belief in whether or not people should be free or people should be controlled. It's always been like that. Until now, however, there has not been a singular, perfectly harmonized and integrated monolith. So the only thing that exists now that zillions of dollars of private money, governments in all sectors of the world, in all countries in the world, these traditional places where control is sought, now that they are integrated into one cooperative, unified entity, the only thing that's left for you or me is to have a point of view about how society should be organized. Does it have a better chance to do well for people if people are made to be free? Or does it have a better chance to do well for people if people are made to be controlled? This is what one has to basically come to a basic sense of things. And then once we do, then what next has to happen is that we start to analyze the information we receive. Because for those who are committed to the worldview that people should be controlled, all information that is permitted to be communicated will support that worldview. It's its job. If I happen to be a person who believes that human beings should be free and that freedom is a good thing, then I need to have the capacity to understand, are what people telling me true or false? Is what Mr. Dorsey is allowed to be said? Are the fact checkers, are the little flags on my posts, are they true or false? I want to know. But the information is designed to make me a believer in control. Then I need to have some means or some way to try to find information to the contrary. But if this is censored, if this is forbidden, if people are jailed, put in solitary confinement, not allowed to speak, if investigations are covered up, then how am I going to get the information I need to help me decide which of the two worldviews is better? The fact of the matter is, only one of these two things can be the case. Either controlling people is what's needed, or helping people be free is what's needed. One is true, one is false. One is the case, one is a lie. If I'm being given information that is wanting to lead me to believe that a lie is true, then that information is inaccurate. It's false. If people are interpreting world affairs to me that want me to become a champion and a warrior and a fighter for making sure people are controlled, not allowed to think, not allowed to speak, not allowed to act, not allowed to move, then if those who are now working together, if they're presenting information to me, the information is designed and meant to have me become a fellow warrior for their cause. I really need to hate. If I have a neighbor who's trying to express an opinion or trying to live according to his or her own medical convictions and beliefs, they're actually my enemy. Me and Mr. Zuckerberg have to do everything in our power to make sure that that person is not free to express themselves. And so how does one go about being positioned in terms of what a politician may say to you, what a television news personality might say to you, what a university or high school professor or teacher might say to you, what a fact checker might say to you. By what means or in what way am I going to be able to assess the likelihood of this being true or false? Because information is what I need in order to be able to assess and evaluate my point of view. If the information is part of what is working to help me become more deeply convinced that I am the friend of those who want to control you and control me, and I'm for that, please control me. I can't be trusted. I'm a racist. I'm homophobic. I'm a chauvinist, gender chauvinist. I'm full of hate. I need to be controlled. Please control me. I don't have any sense of my own physical health. I don't have any responsibility for maintaining my own physical health. I'm afraid. Please control me. Please tell me what I must do, what I must think. All information has to support me in that conviction. And so the way one can assess how I am going to live in the world of information is to first have a fundamental inclination to lean one way or the other. Control is needed. Thank you, Alyssa Milano. Please find anybody that had a bad thought and Twitter them down into, Twitter their 3-year-old, Twitter their wife, just destroy them. Thank you. We're grateful for that. We need your control because you're an actress or a singer, I can't remember. Singer, I think. Thank you for being such a great singer, and please use the notoriety which you've gained from your talents to make sure to control others. Don't let anybody have a thought that might be harmful to others. Thank you, Ms. Milano. We have to pick which one we think. Or if we happen to think, oh, that's terrible, a whole career of a person who tried all their life, stayed up nights and practiced it late nights, and their dad spent all their money to make them a great skater or a great pole vaulter, or that's terrible that they would be destroyed because of a misspeak. If we don't like the expansion of control over human beings, then it's necessary to approach information with caution. What is it trying to convince me of? In which camp is it trying to put me? So the small conclusion of this podcast on lies and power is to recommend, of the two worldviews about how life is best built, find one's general leaning, general inclination. Controlling people is good. If left to their own, they're going to say something mean. They're going to cause trauma. They're going to cause a microaggression. They're going to be hurtful. They can't help it no matter how good they think they want to be. If I'm pro-control, then I have a heurism, a prism, a code by which I can take in the information. Yes, Mr. Fauci, I know you said masks were bad at the beginning of the thing, but now, I trust you. We really need somebody to tell us what's the case. If I'm a control person, I want, thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg. I know somebody thought they found a medicine that was helpful, but don't allow them to speak. That would be terrible. I like being controlled, and I want to help that cause. Then this will help me approach information. Or if I happen to be a person who thinks, no, if people are left free, things work out. They themselves seek to be better people. They improve themselves. They learn to work together. The shared and mutual advantage of overcoming my prejudices and biases, the emergence of legislation, the increasing equality that's happened when people are free is quite magical how that happens. I'm in favor of, I happen to believe people should be free. If that's one's goal, then one has to approach information with that inquiry. Wait a minute, is this true what you're saying? You, Mr. Fact Checker, is this helping to promote freedom or is it helping to promote control? I want to feel how the information is being used because I myself have a suspicion that information should not be used for the furtherance of creating a controlled, surveilled, censored people. So the way I seek information will be different if I'm a person who has the suspicion that people should be allowed to express an opinion, that this is a good thing. Then my pursuit of information will differ. So pick which way you lean. Find out what you suspect about the nature of things. And then from there, start in small ways. Next time an ad comes on your TV, next time a celebrity says something, next time a news person says something, which of the two things seem to be being promoted or advocated? And therefrom, how do I lean toward the suspected verity of what I just heard? Where does its advocacy lie, its home base? And then with that, I can read better. I can watch TV better. I can listen better. I can decide about fact-checking flags on my Facebook account better. Once I know which of the two things I tend to believe. Because right now, all means of control have become a single integrated, mutually supportive product. We've never been in that situation before. The pursuit of information is much more difficult under those circumstances. If you happen to be a person that thinks human freedom is good, then it's going to take a little extra effort to invest in trying to find where you can get reliable information. Thanks a lot for listening. I know this was long. I did not try to make it short. I wanted to get this whole thought out. So thank you very much, and we'll talk again soon.